everyone. This is Anna again, and here is Goldie, she's one of our gold phase Welsh Harlequin ducks. I know, Goldie, real original name. Sometimes it's the most obvious ones that stick. Anyway, so we are outside today. I wanted to respond to a question that I just got via email from one of my readers. In case you don't know, I do write a lot about keeping ducks, and I have an email address just for people to ask any questions that they might have needing help about, keeping ducks. It's asktheducklady@saltandmycoffee.com, and if you have questions about keeping ducks, shoot me a line. I will do anything I can to help, and if I don't know the answer, I'm still learning myself even after all these years of keeping ducks. I'm always eager to learn more. So our question today: are my ducks' eggs too thick-shelled to hatch well? This is from a reader who had a couple of ducks, Welsh Harlequins like mine, who sat on eggs this year, and she did not have a good hatch rate at all. She really had not success with her ducks hatching their own eggs. And so the question she really specifically had was, the feed, the duck feed that I'm giving my ducks, does it have too much calcium in it? Because, my golly, these duck egg shells are really hard. And, she went on to describe how, and I laughed out loud because this has happened to me, when you handle duck eggs all the time and you go to crack a chicken egg, it is so easy to just obliterate that chicken egg, like smash it all over the counter, because the shells of a chicken egg are a lot thinner than the shells of a duck egg, and that is actually well and good and exactly as it should be. No problem there. Now, my hunch is that if you have your ducks on a high quality feed, even if that is a layer feed, like an all flock layer feed or a duck layer feed or even a regular chicken layer feed, the amount of calcium is not going to be so great that it makes your shells hard to crack. I really don't think that's your problem. It's not one that I've encountered. However, I have troubleshot a lot of problems that people have had with broody ducks and trying to hatch their own eggs. And there were a couple clues to me in this email. One thing that can be done to try to help your ducks with hatching their own eggs is to limit the number of eggs that they're sitting on. In this case, it was about 25 eggs under a couple of ducks. And one thing that I would suggest, especially if your girls are hatching their own babies for the first time, is really try limiting the number of eggs under your girls to 6 or less, at least for their first hatch. Anything more than that, yes, a duck, especially a wild duck that is still so wired for being a mom and for being broody and sitting on eggs, can handle more than 6 eggs. But with our domestic ducks, one thing I've really discovered is it's easy to run into more problems the more eggs that you have under a hen. And so one thing I really suggest is limiting the number of eggs that are under your duck. It's always a great idea to get her used to you visiting the nest on a daily basis. And what I do when you're ready to have your duck sit on eggs again is, once she's got about 6 eggs under her, go ahead and mark those and visit the nest every day. And if she's still laying, or if she's letting the other girls get into the nest and lay eggs, which is so common, that very usually does happen. Usually with girls that are raised together, they will very happily let the other girls sneak into that nest and lay an egg or two. They're happy, for the most part, to get as many eggs as they can possibly sit on. But it will help you to have a successful hatch if you have a limited number of eggs under your girl, and you can keep track of how many days they're under there. Of course, in the case of a Welsh Harlequin, that's going to be 28 days. And so, yes, you certainly can. I would suggest go ahead, and if you do have an incubator, go for it. I don't think you're having any problems with your duck feed. I really would not worry about that. Even if you're feeding a layer feed and you have, crushed oyster shell out there for some additional calcium, for the most part, ducks are going to do a great job of eating what they need. Yeah, you're pretty good at that, aren't you, honey? Especially in a free-range setting, but even if they're kept in a pen, they're going to do a good job of figuring out what they need for nutrients. And I really would not worry about the sturdiness of your egg. I've got an egg from one of my girls here, and I thought about cracking it so that you could see how tough it is, but I'm not going to do it in front of Goldie here. But yes, it is not at all unusual that your duck eggs are very tough to crack, and they should be, and that is right and good. If you are hatching your eggs under a broody duck, don't worry too much about, whether they're getting damp or not. If you're hatching them in an incubator, one thing that can help slightly, it is a significant difference, but still a small percentage point in terms of how successful a hatch is. Do a 15-minute cool down cycle each day with your duck eggs and give them a little mist. That's a trick that I got out of Dave Holderried's book, his Story's Guide to Raising Ducks. And for me, it's been just a really good tip. It does make a difference in the quality of your hatch rates and the ease of the ducklings in hatching. I have readers who have written to me saying, I always got horrible hatch rates until I started the cool down and misting cycle, and that has made all the difference. Now my hatch rates are all at least in the 90s. That's a really common comment that I get. And so if you are trying an incubator the next time around, definitely do try the cool down and misting cycle, and I'll put a link in the show notes down below about how to do that. But let me just set your mind at ease that if you're feeding your ducks a high quality feed, yes, their eggs should be hard to crack. That's not a problem with the ducklings successfully hatching out. My hunch is that it's probably some other things going on, along with having too many eggs underneath your duck and having a hard time keeping them evenly warm. If you've got one male duck to 6 female ducks, which is the ratio from this particular reader, you probably have fertile eggs. You probably do not have a problem with not having fertile eggs. I have a hunch that if you do put those eggs in an incubator next time, you're going to have a great hatch. So let me just set your mind at ease that no, your duck eggs, even though they feel really strong to you compared to when you crack open a chicken egg, that's all good. Ducklings are made for cracking through those shells, and that is probably not contributing in any way to your difficulties with hatching eggs under your broody duck. All right, if you have any questions at all, if I can be of more help, if you're someone watching this who has another question about keeping ducks, shoot me a line, either in the comments below or send an email, asktheducklady@saltandmycoffee.com. I love chatting ducks. All right, take care. Have a great day.